Hello and welcome to the Halo Forge epidemic. This is Oakley HiDef and I'm here to bring you another tutorial, and this is response to what you guys were asking for, which is a more Covenant themed tutorial. So I went ahead and forged for a bit and came up with some ideas for different Forge elements to represent, Covenant architecture. Now, of course, this isn't all-encompassing Covenant stuff. I'm sure we'll come back and deal with more stuff, and we'll look to the community to see what you guys have created in terms of Covenant architecture and the like. But for now, what I'm going to be doing is just showing you guys the basic stuff that I decided to come up with and what I found was useful when you're building Covenant architecture. So I guess what we'll start off with is up over here. What I ended up using for this was the dishes. Now these are dish opens, and what's really neat about this is if you put them down like this, there's a gap left between them, which is actually very useful because it allows you to leave an opening for a platform or something like that. So I felt these two in combination with the base here made for a nice curved architecture piece for Covenant structure, and then an actually functional place here where you can stand and shoot. And that's something you're going to notice when you're dealing with Covenant architecture, is you're going to have a lot of curves and irregular shapes and stuff like that. So that's how you set Covenant apart. And this actual design, I was inspired by Abel and Yardbird, who were working on one of the new invasion maps. So I was inspired by that, and I decided to try my hand at it and see what we could do. And then over on the sides, you want to keep, if this were a building or something, maybe put up brace larges or circular pieces, because you want to give it an angled face, nothing too straight lined or choppy. You want to make sure everything kind of curves and moves around smoothly with Covenant architecture. Over here, I'm just trying more designs with the dish open pieces. I put a walkway large here, just to make a little bit more interesting piece right here, and then it sort of caps off the back pretty well. And it has a little stump here, which helped fill the gap here. And then I put a block here. I'll lift that up because otherwise there's a little hole here. So just to make it more walkable on. So put that there, and there you go. Now the next one over here, it's again with the dishes. And here I put a base platform extra large here, just to make it a little smaller. And then I put a brace tunnel here because I felt it fit nicely, and I want to see what it looked like. And it did a good job actually of linking the curving dish at the bottom to this part here. And that's sometimes what you see with Covenant or Forerunner architecture, are these beams coming up and supporting it, and they kind of look like they're draped off the sides. So it's got a little bit of aesthetics to it. Then over on the side, if I were to attach this to a building or something else, I was just trying to show you guys that you could pull off other types of walls using brace larges to give it more of a curved feel. Over here, I guess we'll go and cover some other stuff that you might encounter. So one of them would be the Covenant sniper towers or floating platforms, and a lot of forgers have tried this before. I didn't want to copy their design, so I tried something slightly different. I mean, a grab lift is obviously going to be the same everywhere you looked, but it takes you up here. A one-way shield there slows your rise. And then for the platform itself, what I did was I put bank 2x1s, or 2x2s, excuse me, all around the side. And then in between them, I put these, ramp 1x2 shallows. And this ends up being cheaper than some of the designs you see from other people where they use a bunch of railings or cover pieces, which end up being expensive. The only trick to this design is, I'll pick this up, is there's one here, and then there's another one under that I put just to follow the edge profile of the bank. So that was just for aesthetic purposes, and I guess you could cut that out. But overall, I do like the way this platform came out. It's functional. You can come up here, it looks neat, the black coloring is cool. And then what I did is I merged these barricades in here to give it a bit more cover, and then just to put a plasma turret here. Over on the side, this was inspired by something X-Hunter33 made, and this is supposed to be a Covenant drop pod that's landed. I changed his design a little bit. I think his was a little better, but I stuck with some of the main elements, which was having these Covenant barricades at the bottom like this, and then cover pieces underneath to kind of merge it. And I think that looks really cool. It looks like the openings here have deployed. This whole thing is settled here, and then shield doors around the outside to protect whoever's in here. So I thought that was really neat. And then in his design, what he had was he had these railings, sticking up from the corners, coming up to the top to make the supports. And over at the top, he also had a Covenant crate right here. And then I put banks here to kind of close off the side. So that makes kind of a cool drop pod. It's not as curved as the ones you'd see in campaign or as large, but you could obviously add more. I was just trying to stick to relative bare minimums in order to save you guys money. As we're moving along, I decided to try my hand at some walls, and what I found was, again, you want to stick with curved architecture. So here, alternating between ramp, circular, smalls, larges, small, large, has a cool effect. And then when you put the wall coliseum itself, don't put just one standing straight up. Put one standing straight up in combination with another one on an incline, so it looks like it's all curving. Same over here. I just put this one on a bank, and then I used a bunch of the circular ramps, larges. Another thing that's important with Covenant architecture that I've already said, which is the circularity, the curve, form-fittingness to them, is the use of dishes, not only to make vertical pieces that curve and all that stuff, but also on the ground. If you ever have some sort of platform like this, go ahead and put a dish in the ground like this, which kind of circumnavigates it, that's around it. And I think that looks really cool, especially if it's kind of, hidden in the ground. It seems like this is something that's been here for a while. And just having the circularity to it, the symmetry to it, makes it look very Covenant. And then what I've done up here to make it look like it's Covenant inhabited, I put these shield doors here, or not shield doors, these are portable shields here and up here for cover. And then what I did is, I think this is actually a piece that you can put in Powerhouse and some other maps, but it's basically one of their Covenant satellite type things where I put a crate, and then I put 4 pillars or columns holding it up, and then I put antennas at the top, so it's a Covenant relay station or something like that. And then for small walls, what I found that you can do, which is kind of neat, is implement the Covenant barricades, and then put the brace pieces just like this, so you have a wall, but it exposes, the cool Covenant architecture and look of this barricade piece. Or you can flip the barricade upside down and have the white lights emanating from that. So both ways look cool, and both ways make it look Covenant because you do have the purple and the shape just inherently that goes with this specific Covenant piece. As we move on over here, I came up with 2 small structures that I felt did look very Covenant. Again, using the dishes on the base adds a lot. Then what I did to add the Covenant uniqueness and circularity to it, what I did was I based this off of 2 circular ramp smalls here. So first I put those down, one here, then I put one next to it, and then what I did was I put a platform Y large at an angle, and I dropped it down just so it was straddling the circular ramps, so it poked out on the top and the bottom. And then what I did on either side to help round this off was I put a platform extra large, because instead of having a cavity here, what I decided to do is put a platform extra large on its side, and then I dropped it down right into place so it's hidden, which I felt worked nicely, wrapping up the structure and sort of expanding it on the side. And what's cool about this is it has a modularity to it in the sense that this is a self-contained building, but as you can see, this ends in a platform extra large. So what you could do is link a couple of these together to make a long chain, or put another one going in that direction, so it could turn into a building. And then what I did finally was put another dish here to make kind of a fin on the top, again to add more curvature and Covenantness to it. Over here is a more abridged version where I had the 2 circular ramps, and then here platform extra large this time nestled in on the side. And then what I did on the top is I did the fin, but I made it seem like it was even more different, because usually you're used to the dishes spanning the whole way through, and so what I wanted to do is kind of trick the forager into believing this is a piece that you haven't seen before, because it looks like it's maybe a 1/6 of a whole disc. So what I did was, I'll just lift this up, is I used the disc, the dish open, and I used this opening here, the gap, to drop it down and hide that just under the ground level. And by doing so, I made it look like, this piece, this is all that existed, and I hid the rest. So that's something you might want to do in your buildings, is try little tricks like that to throw people off and to make it seem even more unique. And then moving along back, even more stuff to make it look circular. What you can do is put a bunch of these block 4x4s, or 2x4s, or 2x3s, put them together like this, make a big octagonal or octahedron shape going around the sides. And then struts are also good because they have the coloring that you can go to. Then you go to object color, make it red, blue, green, orange, purple. Purple might be good for Covenant, so use anything with lights to implement that Covenant theme. And then here on top, more circular pieces. Another cool thing here is, again, the dishes. Then I use 2 sniper nests, dropped them on the either side. And the reason I did that was so I could kind of cradle these struts in a little more interesting fashion. on either side. And then here, what I had was a block that I just dropped down a little bit, left this opening here, which kind of makes it look like some sort of Forerunner piece. But again, Covenant architecture is a little bit inspired by Forerunner stuff, so they have a lot in common. And then over here, I just tried my hand at another, Covenant tower. This one you can't access by a grav lift, but I did think it looked really cool. Maybe you could have a Covenant AA gun up here, something like that. But basically what you have is struts, 3 of them equidistantly spaced. Then I put blocks in between them on the bottom to sort of support them. Then up on the top, what I did is I used these platform 4x4s, one here, one there, and one there, so 3 of them to join it all together. And then to add a little more flair, what I did is I put these glass sail pieces nestled right here to add a little bit more to the architecture, make it again a little more unique and different. And as you can see up here, you have a good vantage view of everything. So that's something you might want to implement your map, if not just for aesthetics, maybe for a sniper perch. So thanks guys, I hope you enjoyed. I'm glad I could respond to your criticism or to your request so quickly and cover, Covenant architecture. I know this isn't all encompassing, so go ahead and try your hand at them. And if you come up with something new, maybe suggest it to us, and we'll be on the lookout for more maps. So thanks guys, this has been Oakley HiDef with the Halo Forge Epidemic. I hope you subscribe, like the video, and leave comments what you'd like to see next. So thanks guys, signing out.